आज कौन सा पेपर था एग्जाम? आज कौन सा पेपर था?
इंग्लिश था सर।
ओके। बीए में आपका जहाँ तक पढ़ाई हुआ है वहीं तक आया है, लास्ट क्लास तक। ठीक है, यानी कि आपका फर्स्ट 2 मॉड्यूल। कौन सा नोट्स? सब तो शेयर किया गया है। और रोबोटिक्स का ला, रोबोटिक्स
यस सर।
अभी आज दे देते हैं, अभी ग्रुप में दे देता हूँ, ठीक।
ओके सर।
आपका, चलो 1 मिनट रुको, हम बोल देते हैं एक्चुअली पोर्शन कहाँ तक है। हम्म, अब आया तो जैसे बोला था पिछले क्लास में, सरप्राइज से कोई सरप्राइज क्वेश्चन से कुछ मिला है, कुछ होगा आपके लिए। उसी के साथ आपका जो रोबोटिक्स पार्ट पढ़ाया गया था वहां से क्वेश्चन है, ठीक है, रोबोटिक्स। और मॉड्यूल 1 मॉड्यूल 2 फुल, ओके। दैट मीन्स आपका completely मॉड्यूल 1 मॉड्यूल 2, योर क्लास टेस्ट 1 कवर्स मॉड्यूल 1 मॉड्यूल 2 एंड ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ द मॉड्यूल 3, ओके। यानी कि दैट पार्ट ऑफ रोबोटिक्स, robotics up to gear. Gear also there in the question, some part from gear. Okay, so जो आपका पोर्शन है, शेयर करते हैं यहाँ से, जस्ट वेट। हम्म, आपको दिख रहा है तो देखो, मॉड्यूल 1 पूरा कवर किया गया है, ठीक है। मॉड्यूल 1 का जो आपका जैसे थर्मोडायनामिक्स पार्ट था और स्टीम टेबल से भी है, स्टीम टेबल का क्वेश्चन है। आपका मोलियर्स डायग्राम के ऊपर क्वेश्चन है, ठीक। उसके बाद एप्लीकेशन पार्ट में, एप्लीकेशन ऑफ थर्मोडायनामिक्स में आपका एयर कंप्रेसर, स्टीम पावर प्लांट, रेफ्रिजरेटर, आईसी इंजन जो पढ़ाया हुआ है वहां से क्वेश्चन हो, ठीक। ऑल क्वेश्चंस आर मल्टीपल चॉइस टाइप, so options are there, you have to take the right one. Then from module 3, that introduction to robotics, that part robot anatomy, joint links, common robot configuration, along with your belt, rope and gear drive. बेल्ट, रोप एंड गियर ड्राइव वही द क्वेश्चन है। बाकी जो कपलिंग, क्लच, ब्रेक, पिछले क्लास में क्लच पढ़ाए थे वहां से क्वेश्चन नहीं है, समझ रहे हो? तो अरे आप पोर्शन समझ लिए या नहीं जहाँ तक पढ़ाई हुआ है
यस।
आपका? इंट्रोडक्शन टू रोबोटिक्स फ्रॉम मॉड्यूल 3 अलॉन्ग विथ योर बेल्ट, रोप एंड गियर ड्राइव। गियर ड्राइव भी जो पिछले क्लास में जहाँ तक पढ़ाई हुआ था, जैसे आपका गियर ट्रेन में सिंपल एंड कंपाउंड गियर ट्रेन, वहां से क्वेश्चन है, समझो? वहां से क्वेश्चन है, वहीं तक आपको प्रिपेयर करके आना है, ठीक। और दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द पोर्शन in your class test. बेल्ट चेन गियर वो तो खत्म हो गया, ये पार्ट भी हम आपको शेयर कर देंगे नोट्स, आपके नोट्स के साथ भी, आप उसको देख के आ जाना, ठीक है। ये पार्ट खत्म हो गया था। यहाँ से भी आप जो ये जो आखिर में जो दिखाया गया है यहाँ पर देखो, शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन के लिए आप प्रिपेयर कर सकते हो, जो पोर्शन मैं दिखा रहा हूँ, समझ रहे हो। ये जो गियर ड्राइव का जो कीवर्ड्स जैसे लिखा गया है, स्पोर गियर, सिलिकल गियर क्या है, उसमें आपका पिच, सर्कल, डाया, मॉड्यूलर, डायमेट्रिकल पिच, मॉड्यूल, ये सब है टर्मिनोलॉजी, टर्म से रिलेटेड टू गियर, इसको आप देख लेना, ठीक। और इसके साथ आप यहाँ से ये न्यूमेरिकल तो ये आपका थोड़ा ज़्यादा है उसमें, आप उसको मल्टीपल चॉइस पैटर्न आएगा तो वहाँ पर कुछ ओरेट नहीं होने का। यहाँ पर तो हम जो डिस्कस कर लिए थे ये सब गियर के पार्ट में, ये वाला नोट्स भी अलॉन्ग विद दैट वन आई विल शेयर विथ यू, यू कैन you write it on your notes, the portion what is included in your syllabus, okay, so that much you have to collect it from this here। ये वाला पोर्शन कंप्लीट हो गया है, इसमें हम चलेंगे अभी ब्रेक को, नेक्स्ट पार्ट जो है पढ़ेंगे। आपका तो पिछले क्लास में ये पढ़ रहे थे जो आपका क्लॉथ्स क्लॉथ्स पढ़े थे, जैसे कि जो मैकेनिकल डिवाइस विच इज यूज्ड टू कनेक्ट और डिस्कनेक्ट द सोर्स ऑफ पावर from the remaining parts, so the power transmission system at the wheel operator, okay. So basically two types of your clutches we discussed, positive and friction clutch. So in positive clutch there is a engaging of clutch surface or interlocking occurred, because of which your power transmission takes place, okay. Then friction clutch, under friction clutch we have discussed several one. Friction clutch works based on the frictional force, okay, developed between two or more surfaces in contact, and here there is a chance of your slip can occur, but there is no slip in positive clutch. So major types of friction clutches are plate clutch, plate under plate we consider single plate and a multi-plate clutch, also cone clutch, centrifugal clutch also. These three will be in your syllabus I think, and that eddy current magnetic clutches are not there. You have to consider that positive clutch and friction clutch. Under friction clutch, that single plate, multi-plate, cone clutch, and centrifugal clutch. This much, and here only you have to remember that diagram, okay, along with its working principle, okay. Beyond that, it is not included in our syllabus. Only diagram with working principle is required. So in single plate, as shown in this diagram, it is discussed whatever one is a driving shaft, another is driven shaft. Here one flange is rigidly keyed to the driving shaft, whereas other is free to move along the driven shaft. This part is discussed. Okay, so there is this mathematical expression is not required. Similarly, multi-plate clutch we also discussed, and how it works also we have already seen it to that animation part, and what is that cone clutch we also fine or already discussed, okay. Then move to that brake part, which is in your syllabus, next one. So brake, you can how you can define a brake, who can tell how you can define brake? Who can define brake? What is
It
brake
slows down the velocity of the moving wheel.
and what is clutch? What is clutch? Clutch is also a mechanical device which is used to engage or disengage. Okay. The power source from the transmitter transmitting to the other parts. So that means from the engine to the other part. That is the in between that what is that device attached, that is called your clutch. That clutch can be two types already discussed. So basically clutch transmit power from the power source to the other parts of the vehicle. Okay, for the power transmission purpose. But basically brake is what? It is used to stops the motion of the vehicle. Okay. So other way also we can define here. You can see this one. I actually collected more notes for you. You can see that braking system is necessary in an automobile for stopping the vehicle. Yes or no? Till now, whatever the brakes we are using in cycle, bicycle, or my motorcycle, basically it is used to stop the vehicle. Yes or no? Able to see it or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically,
Yes, sir.
this braking system includes brake along with other components, and objective is to stop the vehicle. Brakes are applied on the wheels to stop or slow down the vehicle. Array, screen is visible or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
Visible,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that braking system, in braking system, brakes are there and brakes are applied on the wheels to stop or slow down the vehicle. Over. So next is that what is the function of a vehicle braking? ये भी आ सकता है. What are the two main function? To slow down or stop the vehicle in shortest possible time at the time of need. So you are not applying brakes always to your auto vehicle or automobile. So whenever it is required, the vehicle should stop in the shortest possible time. This is the main objective of your braking system, is not it?
Yes.
Second one is that to control the speed of the vehicle at turns. That means while you taking the turn, you are applying the brakes also, yes or no? And also at the time of driving down on a hill slope, yes or no? आप कहाँ स्लोप से अगर कहाँ पर स्टीप हिल से भी आप अगर ड्राइविंग डाउन कर रहे हो तो वहां से भी आप अप्लाई कर रहे हो ब्रेक. Also to control the speed during the turn, you can also apply the brakes. So these are the two main function of the brakes. Yes or no?
Yes.
So you have
Yes,
to
sir.
remember these two definitions, or what is the main function of that vehicle braking: to slow down or stop the vehicle in shortest possible time at the time of need, and to control the speed of the vehicle at turns, and also at the time of driving on a hill slope. So that means the principle works. The braking principle on which vehicle you apply the brake and it stops. So braking of a vehicle depends upon the static function and the acts between static function, not it is called your friction, that acts between tire and road surface. That is called your friction. It is wrong. It is a typing error, and what is mentioned is static function. Is not it? Are you able to find it or not? This what?
Yes, sir.
Braking of
Yes, sir.
vehicle depends upon static friction. Friction ये वाला function नहीं. Oh, this is a typing error. And that acts between tires and the road surface. Brakes work on the following principles to stop the vehicle. So what is the principle on which your brake work? The kinetic energy due to motion of the vehicle, and when you apply the brakes, your kinetic energy of the vehicle dissipated in the form of heat energy, and due to friction between moving part and the stationary part of the vehicle. Okay, that means when you apply the brakes, the kinetic energy between your moving parts and the stationary part of the vehicle gets converted or dissipated into heat energy due to friction. Okay. So the heat energy generated due to application of brake is dissipated into air. Suppose when you apply the brake, that sudden kinetic energy changes to heat energy. Suppose you think that sir, where that heat energy, it is heat energy is transferred to the air. Okay, as heat is transferred from the system. So brakes operate most effectively when they are applied in a manner so that wheels do not lock completely. Okay, sometimes you find nowadays it is anti-lock braking systems are there, disc brakes are there. When you apply the brakes, there is a chance of sudden locking may occur. But if it is not locked, okay, once that locking will occur, that means there is a chance of slipping or that means the skidding of that vehicle will occur. Okay, so you have to keep focus in your mind that during application of your brake, it should not lock. Okay, but continue to roll without slipping on the surface of the road. Yeah, this is most important line what it is written here. Brake operate most effectively when they are applied in a manner so that wheel do not lock completely, but continue to roll without slipping on the surface of the road. So next, we come to your classification of brake. How
सर
many types
ब्रेक
of
शू क्या
brakes?
होता है?
What?
ब्रेक शू?
Oh, you will discuss later. ब्रेक ड्रम क्या है, ब्रेक शू क्या है, ठीक है.
ओके सर.
Now you only remember what is brake and on what is the principle of braking. कौन से principle पे वो काम कर रहा है. Next we are discussing classification of brake. So on basis of method of actuation, okay, method of actuation, your brakes are of two types. One is foot brake, another is a hand brake. If your braking system in your vehicle is actuated by your foot pedal, it is called your foot brake. And if it is operated by your hand, it is called your hand brake. Okay, hand brake is also called as parking brake, and foot brake is also called as service brake. You have to remember. That means on the basis of a method of actuation. आप किससे एक्चुएट कर रहे हो. अगर फुट से कर रहे हो तो फुट ब्रेक, हैंड से कर रहे हो तो हैंड ब्रेक. Then classification of brakes are on basis of mode of operation. Mode of operation, one is your mechanical brake, another is a hydraulic brake, another is air brake, your vacuum brake, and also electric brakes are there. We'll discuss that mechanical brakes, hydraulic brake, and air brakes after this one. So then, on basis of action of a front or rear wheel, where you apply the brakes, or both the wheel, okay. So front wheel, if braking system is or braking arrangement is provided only in the front wheel, you apply once you apply the brakes, your front wheel stops. Front wheel brake and rear wheel brake and also both wheel brakes also the combo brake it is coming. So on basis of method of application of braking contact. So when you apply the brake, there is that Hassan Raja just asked before few minutes that what is that brake shoe. Okay, that it comes in contact with that rotating part of that wheel. Okay, so how that contact takes place, whether it is internal expanding or external expanding. Okay, so based on that one method of internally expanding, just see the one. So these are the classification of brakes. One is on one, first one is on basis of actuation, foot and hand brake, method of operation or mode of operation, mechanically. If it is with help of hydraulic fluid, or it is called hydraulic brakes. If it is with compressed air, it is called air brake. These things. And with method of action on front or rear wheel, it is front wheel and rear wheel brake. And on basis of method of application of braking contact, it is your internal expanding and a externally contracting brake. So these are the about classification of brake. So come to here. Actually, suppose someone asks you that what is air brake, so you have to tell that air brakes are applied by the pressure of compressed air. Okay, so that means like your compressor, as we discussed earlier in application of front end, what compressor was is there, air compressor, so it compresses the air. So that compressed air, if it is used for applying brakes, that is called your air brake. Okay, so here air pressure applies force on brakes through suitable linkage to operate brakes. That means there is certain medium through which that compressed air can be passed, and when it presses that brake shoe, it will hold that rotating part. Okay, so now it stops. So an air compressor is used to compress the air. The compressor is run by engine power. Suppose you know that as a compressor is a work consuming device and it requires some work input to compress the air, so that power or work input what is required, that is supplied by your engine. Okay, in case of your braking system in vehicle. Vacuum brakes are a piston or a diaphragm operating in a cylinder. So for application of brakes on one side of the piston is subjected to atmospheric pressure, while the other is applied vacuum by exhausting air from this side. Okay. So this way braking force is applied through suitable linkage. Sorry. Then this one is your electric. Again, this is not in your syllabus, I think. Then come to air brake. After air brake, there is hydraulic brake. How, what is that? How diagram? I will show you the diagram later. Just you see the brakes which are actuated by the hydraulic pressure. This is a compressed air. Brakes which are actuated by compressed air is called as air brake. So similarly, the brakes which are actuated by hydraulic pressure, it is called your hydraulic brake. So these are basically used in auto vehicles. And what is the principle in which your hydraulic brakes works? Basically, it works on principle of Pascal's law. It states that pressure at a point in a fluid is equal in all direction. Okay, and based on this Pascal's law, your hydraulic brake work. So if we come to that construction and working part of that hydraulic brake, so I will explain through that diagram. So when brake pedal is pressed, the force is transmitted to the brake shoe through a liquid. So the pedal force is multiplied and transmitted to all brake shoe by a force transmission system. Basically, in your hydraulic brake, there are major components you can tell, or major parts are discussed. It is in your hydraulic braking, master cylinder, wheel cylinder, four wheel cylinder. There is a pipe connecting their master cylinder to wheel cylinder. What is the advantage of this one? We will discuss. Let's see this diagram here. How it looks. You can see. Able to see the right one. Right one is your hydraulic braking system. Here, when you press the brake pedal, here you can see that the fluid is there in this master cylinder. One is master cylinder. Here, these four wheels are there, and it is provided with the wheel cylinder. Okay. So four wheel cylinder are there, two in front and two in rear. When you press the brake pedal, here that fluid is here in this master cylinder, it is get compressed. Okay. Oh, sorry. Here once it is pushed here, it is moved to this one through this lining. You can see. So hydraulic lining, it moved to there. Okay. And here all these arrangement are fitted to all four wheels of your vehicle, multiplied and transmitted to all brake shoe by a force transmission system. So this one is your you can see master cylinder. These are wheel cylinder. Okay, brake oil is there. So once you press this one, the fluid here it will, or fluid force is transmitted to the each wheel. Okay, you can see each wheel, four wheels are there. So if you find what is that advantage of this using this system, you can see it provides braking effort to all wheels. Advantage of hydraulic braking system, you can see it's a equal braking effort on all wheels in comparison to mechanical braking. Okay, and relative brake effort is less. That means here braking effort, or that force at which your driver press the pedal, it is called your brake effort. It is comparatively less than your mechanical braking system. It is more efficient than mechanical braking system and suitable for all types of vehicle having independent suspension system. So this is all about your hydraulic braking system. You can see. So that master cylinder you can see from this diagram. This one. The master cylinder is connected to all the four wheel cylinder by tubing or piping system. So all cylinders and the tubes are fitted with a fluid which acts as a link to transmit pedal force from master cylinder to wheel cylinder. So there, what is that fluid used in this hydraulic braking system is called your brake fluid. Basically, it is a mixture of glycerin and alcohol or castor oil with some additives. Okay. So the fluid, that means you have a piston. You have already seen in the diagram that master cylinder consists of a piston which is connected to pedal through connecting rod. Okay. Connecting rod, this one. The wheel cylinder consists of two pistons between which fluid is filled. How that works: when that brake pedal is pressed to apply the brakes, the piston in the master cylinder forces the brake fluid. This increases the pressure of the fluid. The pressure is transmitted in all the pipes and up to all wheel cylinder according to Pascal's law. This increased in pressure forces out the two pistons in the wheel cylinder, and these pistons are connected to the brake shoe. Okay. So the brakes to expand and work against the brake drum. Okay. So due to this friction between brake lining and the drum, wheels slows down and brakes are applied. So this way your hydraulic braking system work. You can see when you apply that brake pedal, it will now this fluid from this master cylinder, once this piston starts to move, this fluid from master cylinder is passing through this hydraulic line, or that tubing or piping arrangement is there to that wheel cylinder, and here you can see it will press that piston and it is connected there. Okay. So this brakes to expands out against brake drum. Due to friction between brake lining and brake drum, your wheels slows down. So this is all about the working of your hydraulic braking system. And suppose you, whenever it is required, you have to apply that or press that brake pedal. When it is not required, that means you basically release the force from the pedal. So when pedal is released, again the piston in the master cylinder returns to its original position. Okay. Due to retractor spring provided in the master cylinder. You can see there is a spring provided there. Here it is not mentioned in this diagram, but whenever you press the pedal, it moves. Master cylinder return to its original position. Thus, fluid pressure drops to original value. A retractor spring in provided in the wheel cylinder pulls the brake shoe. That means during application it pulls the brake shoe, and during release of brakes it will pull the brake shoe. So now what happens? The contact between brake drum and brake lining is broken. Okay. So therefore your brakes released. So this way your hydraulic braking system work. That means whenever you press the pedal, when you release the pedal. Okay. So you just see this diagram again. You can see when you apply the brake, when you press the brake pedal, your piston in this master cylinder push the fluid here, and it will move to each wheel through this wheel cylinder, and when this wheel cylinder, this fluid push this piston in the wheel cylinder, and that is press the brake shoe. Okay, यार पुश करेगा ब्रेक शू, उसके बाद ये hold करेगा. When you release, it will move back. That's when it will pull out the brake shoe. So this way it works. Okay. Now if we compare this advantage of and some advantage of your hydraulic braking system as discussed, equal braking action on all wheels. This is the main advantage you can call in case of your hydraulic braking system. That means all wheel gets equal braking effort or equal braking action. Increased braking force, because of that fluid through which power force is transmitted, it is multiplied, so that braking force is increased. Simple in construction, as there is no mechanical parts, that means it works only with that Pascal's law, as well as also because of fluid pressure it is working, and here low wear rate is there, okay, on the brake, and flexibility of brake lining and increasing mechanical advantage. You can only remember that equal braking action on four wheel, increased braking force, simple in construction, less wear or low wear rate, you can also write. But one says that there is some advantage, it is still some disadvantage associated with your hydraulic. This is the major disadvantage also from in the hydraulic braking system. So as here, because of only fluid it is working, fluid pressure, so presence of air inside the tubing may ruin the whole system. Okay. So here two things you have to remember. Once that fluid leakage occur, your whole braking system fails. And because of presence of air in the tubing, here also it will ruins the whole system, whole braking system. Then come to the mechanical system. You can see there is disc brake. Disc brake सुने हो या नहीं? Disc brake, drum brake.
Yes.
You can see this diagram. This major thing is that this mechanical brake, you can see this type of brake. Those are having that drum brake initially, the two-wheelers, you can find this one, and nowadays it is disc brake also available. So there is which one is a brake shoe. You can see this black color portion here in the mechanical brake. It is showing it is your brake shoe. Okay, and the outer cover is called your brake drum. Okay, and in between that brake drum and brake shoe, there is a lining. It is called your brake. You can see this one is called your brake lining. Okay, and this is called your brake plates. Which one in from the diagram it is clear, and these are the anchor to which it is that movement is adjusted. This is, you can see, this is air brake. Compressor one, compressor is there. From there, the compressed air is stored in the reservoir. So when you driver press the brake pedal, that from reservoir, that compressed air pass through this one, through this valve and brake cylinder, then it push the brake block. Now wheel stops. Similarly, when driver release the brake force, that means now the reverse direction it will there, and again come back to this reservoir. This is your air brake, hydraulic brake and mechanical brake. You can see now. This is not required. I think this is सर्वो ब्रेक. कोई पूछ रहा था, हसन. हसन, अरे हसन कहाँ गया रे? हसन राजा. हसन राजा नहीं है. You can see this one. These are called your brake shoe. This one. Okay. This point is called your anchor. You can see this is called your brake drum. There is a lining, brake lining. Okay. Here this one is the arrangement of your disc brake. Brake pads are there, caliper is there, and there instruction hole is there through which it is passed, and how it works I will show you through this working. You can see. Let me working. Just wait, just wait. I'm coming. This one is your disc brake. You can see the how it stops that disc brake, working of disc brake. You can see. You can see now how it, when you break the brake fluid from this one, able to see it or not? Okay, see it. A disc. Now that fluid pressed. Okay. Now it stops. When you press this one, how it stops. ये पास्कल्स लॉ देख रहे हो? यहाँ पर देखो, अभी दिख पा रहे हो? देख पा रहे हो रे?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can see pipeline now it is supply the fluid at pressure. Small piston is there. Now here what happens? Here big piston is there. That is your disc. Now you can see P lever equal to P brake. आप लीवर को जितना प्रेस करोगे उसी हिसाब से ब्रेकिंग आपका फोर्स जाएगा, नहीं? तो ब्रेकिंग फोर्स आप कैलकुलेशन कर सकते हो, ये ब्रेक एरिया है लीवर एरिया इनटू ये वाला। देखो आप एक बार प्रेस जो किए थे लीवर, उसके बाद देखो कैसे बंद कर रहा है। अभी यहाँ पर जो फोर्स लिखा ब्रेकिंग फोर्स है। नो पिस्टन दिस साइड, ये साइड में कुछ भी पिस्टन नहीं है, आपका एक ही साइड में पिस्टन है, ठीक है? ये फ्लोटिंग कैलिपर, जो फ्लोटिंग कैलिपर फिक्स्ड कैलिपर बोले थे, वो देखो ये प्रेस होगा ब्रेकिंग जो फ्लूइड फोर्स से, तब जाके देखो ये वाला देखो कैलिपर सपोर्ट कैसे पकड़ता है उसको। देखो कैसे अभी फोर्स अप्लाई हुआ। हाँ देखो पकड़ा, मूवमेंट ऑफ कैपिलर कैलिपर। ये वाला देखो ब्रेक शू, हसन राजा पूछ रहा था ब्रेक शू कहाँ है? वो वाला था टू व्हीलर में, ये देखो फोर व्हीलर में। ड्रम ब्रेक, ड्रम ब्रेक देखो, डिस्क ब्रेक ड्रम ब्रेक जो बोल रहे थे, ड्रम ब्रेक देखो। देखो ब्रेक शू देख रहे हो रे? ब्रेक शू कौन सा है? देखो देख रहे हो या नहीं रे?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
यहाँ देखो फ्रिक्शन फोर्स, डिस्क ब्रेक में देखो बेटर हीट मैनेजमेंट है, वो जो मेटल का डिस्क समझ रहे हो, इससे स्टॉप होता। So this is all about your braking system. Okay. So basically you have to remember one is drum brake, disc brake, and that is hydraulic brake. Okay. So modern motors are of cars are fitted with the disc brake. You can see this one the disc brake, and that one is your drum brake or the disc brake. On इंस्टेड ऑफ कन्वेंशनल ड्रम ब्रेक आप जैसे देख रहे थे कि ज्यादा हीट जनरेट होता है, वो सांट्रो मारुति कार फ्रंट व्हील्स आर प्रोवाइडेड विद डिस्क ब्रेक, पर एज ए रियल व्हील्स आर प्रोवाइडेड विद ए ड्रम ब्रेक। आपका अगर फ्रंट में देखो कोई कोई जब व्हीकल भी आप लोग आजकल जो यूज कर रहे हो, किसी के फ्रंट में डिस्क दिया होगा, पीछे ड्रम दिया होगा, नहीं नहीं तो बहुत अभी जो लेटेस्ट व्हीकल आया है अभी जो, वहां पर दोनों में भी डिस्क दिया है। आप देखे हो या नहीं, डिस्क ड्रम दोनों देखे हो ब्रेक या नहीं?
यस सर।
तो ये डिस्क ब्रेक कंसिस्ट ऑफ ए रोटेटिंग डिस्क, जो मेटल का जो ये रोटेट करता था, वो रोटेटिंग डिस्क है। Two friction pads are actuated by hydraulic braking described earlier. So the friction pad remains free on each side of the disc when brakes are not applied, and they rub against the disc when brakes are applied to stop the vehicle. So these brakes are applied in the same manner as the hydraulic brakes, but mechanism of stopping vehicle is different than that of a drum brake. Okay. So advantage of disc brake is that your better heat management means better cooling you can find here because of that metal disc. Main advantage of disc braking is their resistance to air, as the disc remain cool even after repeated brake application. Better heat management, what I already mentioned. Similarly, brake pads are easily replaceable here. The conditions of brake pads can be checked without much dismantling the brake system. That means suppose in a drum brake, if you want to change the brakes for not self-emerging, pad wear is more. यहाँ पर जो ब्रेक पैड यूज होता है वहां पर वियर चांस ज्यादा है। हैंड ब्रेक्स आर नॉट इफेक्टिव इफ डिस्क्स आर फुल आर यूज्ड इन रियर व्हील्स, so also hand brakes are better with the mechanical brakes. Okay. Then parking or emergency brake, these are the hand brakes you can remember. Bleeding of brake means it is the process of removal of air from the braking system. यानी कि आपका जो कुछ एयर अगर बीच में रह जाएगा तो एयर कंप्रेसिबल होता है, वाटर जो लिक्विड इनकम्प्रेसिबल होता है, तो ये जो एयर को हटाना चाहिए। सो प्रोसेस ऑफ रिमूवल ऑफ एयर फ्रॉम द ब्रेकिंग सिस्टम इज कॉल्ड योर ब्लीडिंग, and procedure is not included in your syllabus, so don't worry for that one. So these are the things you have to remember. Okay. So next one, lock braking system. I think I've just to roll it without slipping or skidding. That is the need of this one. You can see this is coupling. What is coupling? You first understand, then I will. ये होता है कपलिंग, ये होता है कपलिंग, दोनों को कनेक्ट करने के लिए वो उसी को बोलते हैं आपका कपलिंग। ये वाला ये देखो, ये भी वन टाइप ऑफ कपलिंग। फॉरवर्ड करते हैं, थोड़ा टाइम खत्म हो रहा है तो इसलिए। ये होता है ओल्ड हैम्स कपलिंग, इट इज यूज्ड टू कनेक्ट टू पैरेलल शाफ्ट। दो पैरेलल शाफ्ट को कनेक्ट करने के लिए यहाँ पर जो अरेंजमेंट दिया जाता है, एक मैकेनिकल अरेंजमेंट, इसको बोलते हैं कपलिंग। समझ रहे हो? दो पैरेलल शाफ्ट, ये शाफ्ट पैरेलल है, ये शाफ्ट भी पैरेलल, ये दोनों शाफ्ट हैव ए डिस्क फ्लेंज। यू कैन सी हाउ इट इज कनेक्टेड। योर ड्राइविंग फ्लेंज इज देयर, driven flange is there, so there is a tongue is placed in between them. Here this one, इस तरह का अरेंजमेंट में आप देखे होंगे। ये देखो हुक्स कपलिंग, इसको बोलते हैं हुक्स कपलिंग। आप लोग सब जो गए थे एक दिन लैब में, बीएमई लैब में, वहां पर जो पावर ट्रांसमिशन में आपका जो प्रोपेलर शाफ्ट जो घूम रहा था, इसी तरीके का चीज आप देखे होंगे। प्रोपेलर शाफ्ट जो देखे होंगे, जो लैब गए थे घूमने के लिए, दिस इज नोन एज द हुक्स जॉइंट और यूनिवर्सल जॉइंट और कपलिंग. Okay, it is called universal joint because it can able to join two shaft having intersecting axis. यहाँ पर देखो ये शाफ्ट पैरेलल नहीं है, ये इंटरसेक्ट कर रहे हैं. तो ये अगर इसी तरह का सिचुएशन होगा तो ट्रांसमिट करने के लिए आपको ये हुक्स जॉइंट, और इट इज कॉल्ड यूनिवर्सल जॉइंट, और इट इज आल्सो कॉल्ड ए कपलिंग. यू कैन यूज it here. Here you can see one is driven, another is driving shaft. Okay, so you can see this way. आप देखो ये कैसे हो रहा है. देखो ये जो कनेक्शन कैसे हो रहा है, ये जो बीच में आप देखो दोनों एंड से आया, यहाँ पर देखो ये अरेंजमेंट के अंदर रखा गया, और ये अगर ये रोटेट करेगा तो ये रोटेट करेगा. अरे समझ रहे हो या नहीं साहब?
यस सर.
Yes, sir.
सर.
यहाँ पर देखो ये अरेंजमेंट हो गया, तो ये पर देखो जहाँ पर कनेक्ट हुआ है ये ट्रांसमिशन सिस्टम के साथ, इसको बोलते हैं आपका ये जो होता है कपलिंग, और इसको बोलते हैं हुक्स जॉइंट ऑल्सो. डबल हुक्स कपलिंग ऑल्सो यूज. ओनली कॉन्सेंट्रेट ऑन सिंगल हुक. कैसा दिखता है? ये तो रिजिड कपलिंग है. तो आपका एक जो दो टाइप का हम अभी कपलिंग डिस्कस करने वाले हैं, एक होता है रिजिड, एक होता है फ्लेक्सिबल. अब देखो यहाँ पर देखो ये चीज भी आप लैब में देखे होंगे. इसका अरेंजमेंट कैसे किया गया है वो दिखा रहा. हाँ ये फ्लेंस कपलिंग होता है. हाँ ये भी देखो, यहाँ पर देखो, यहाँ देखो ये जो अरेंजमेंट देखो, इससे आपको समझ में आएगा. यहाँ देखो ये होते हैं फ्लेंस. ठीक, ये एक साफ्ट है, ये साफ्ट है. देखो ये की होता है, जो ग्रीन कलर का जो पोर्शन है की है, ये इसमें वो इंसर्ट होके रहेगा, फिक्स होके रहेगा, इसलिए वो की प्रोवाइड किया गया है. ठीक है. और अभी जाके जो बना ये, सपोज क्वेश्चन होगा कि कैसे ये फिट होते हैं, तो उसका भी दिखाया. ये वाला देखो भी फ्लेक्सिबल कपलिंग का, ये अभी डिटेल उसके बारे में जो थ्योरी है हम आगे क्लास में डिस्कस करेंगे. समझे रे? तो सब पढ़ाई कर लो, कौन सा चीज
यस
चाहिए
सर.
तो बोलो. बिना नोट्स के नहीं हो सकता
No, sir.
सेंड कर दीजिए.
है? अरे वही हम, चलो सेंड कर लेते हैं. और क्या. ओ टाइम हो रहा है रे, अटेंडेंस दे रहे हैं, रुको. हम दे देंगे अभी नोट्स जो है आपके कोई ग्रुप में शेयर कर लें.